friends, today we are going to discuss about discovering that this saga continues. So it is written by A.R. Williams. So in this topic what we are going to discuss, that is, he died in teenage, or he is the last ruler of his family, and when did his tomb discovered, that is in 1922. So without waiting or wasting the time, so let us continue, or let's start the today's video. So let's continue. He was just a teenager when he died, the last heir of the powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest, laden with gold, and eventually forgotten. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the modern world has speculated about what happened to him, with murder being the most extreme possibility. Now, leaving his tomb for the rest of the time. In almost 80 years, Tooth was undergone a CT scan. CT scan means computer tomography scan that offers new clues about his life and death, and provides precise data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of Boish Peroha. So an angry wind stirred up costly dust devils, as King Tut was taken from his resting place in ancient Egypt cemetery known as the Valley of Kings. Dark veiled clouds and suicided across the desert sky all day, and now we were willing the stars in the cascade grey. It was about 6 p.m. on January 2005, and the date was the 5th January and time was 6 p.m. The world's most famous mummy glided head first into the CT scanner, brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of his little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. All afternoon, the usual lines of tourists from around the world had descended into a camped rock out the tomb of some about 26 feet underground to pay the respect, or to pay the respect, give the respect also, we can say. They gazed at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber and peered at Tut's glided face. The most striking feature of this mummy-shaped outer coffin lid, some visitor read from guidebooks in whisper, others stood silently, perhaps wondering to Tut's ultimately death is in his late teens, or wondering with a shiver if the Parva's curse, death or misfortune falling on those who disturb him, was really true. So the mummy was in very bad condition, and was discovered by the famous British archaeologist, which was named as the Howard Carter, as you just recently seen here, his picture in the screen above. So the discovery of the tooth is in the pyramid consists of three coffins. The first coffins was consist of the all the board games which he means Tooth was playing, like the board games means chess and other games, and they believed that after his afterlife, means after the time when he it is known as the afterlife. The person reborns and came at that place and plays with that game. The second coffin was completely filled with gold and all jewelries, as well as it also contains the sunflower and jasmine and other flowers, which gives the instruction that he was generally died in, or his burial was remained on March and April, in the month of March and April, because this type of flowers are generally found in the months of March and April. So but when it is in the third coffin, the mummy of King Tut was kept, but when it was not opening, then the archaeologists tried to keep it in sun for few times, and after it he tried to open it as it is very hotness or temperature is very hot in Egypt, as we all know, and the mummy was heated about 149 degree Fahrenheit, as you may see in the pic in your screen. So after it also was not completely opened, but the archaeologist Howard Carter decided it to open slowly, but on that day only, as he has fear that may thieves theft the gold or the mummy from the place where they came out, from where they removed the mummy. So he slowly broke that piece and seen the mummy, or removed the mummy from the coffin, or lead coffin also we can say. After it, the mummy was generally not mummy, but the dead body of the King Tut was generally gone for a CT scanner, means computer tomography. What does computer tomography means? It means the whole full scanning of your body through the X-ray radiation, and around 1700 X-rays or pics were generally taken from the King Tut's body. X-rays has been taken, and at that time the president of Egypt, which is Mr. Zahi Hussein, I think. Yeah, exactly, it's Zahi Hussein, did not slept for the single day. The process continued about 3 days, and after the 3 days the mummy was kept reback or placed reback in the place from where it has been removed or taken, at the place where the old time the priest had buried it. And the history behind the King Tut is the grandfather of the King Tut, that is Amenhotep III, was a very powerful ruler, as well as his son or his successor Amenhotep IV. Amenhotep IV was also a powerful ruler, but he has changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten, which means the servant of the Aten. Aten means son. Aten means son, means the servant of the public and son. The first X-ray was scanned in 1969, as we have recently seen in the screen. But after Akhenaten's death, the father of the Tut, that is Semenkhare, appeared briefly only, as he was not that much powerful ruler, and he generally died. And after him, his son Tutenaten has kept or sat on the throne, and after it he has changed his name from Tutenaten to Tutankhamun, which generally means the living image of Amun. After it, in 2003, almost around 600 mummies in the Egypt were discovered, but the mummy of the King Tutankhamun was the wealthiest and consists of very much precious stones and gold, which proves that he generally belongs to a very wealthiest family as well as also. Or we also can say by the above story which I generally told, that here is a pic of Amenhotep III, a very powerful ruler of the dynasty, or because of him his dynasty was known as the Golden Dynasty or Tataurian Kizo Dynasty, 18th dynasty. And this is the pic of the Amenhotep IV, means the Akhenaten, who has changed his name from Amenhotep to Akhenaten. You may look it on the screen. After it, as I earlier told that the Zakir Hussain, but it's not the president of Egypt, but the name of the president of Egypt is Zahi Hussain, Zahi Hawass, who generally not slept for the whole night or the day in which the mummy was kept under the CT scan or gone for CT scan, and after when it was came after the CT scan and placed in its original place, then he smiled and said that he may sleep now completely without any problem or any tension. After it, here you also may see the pic of the father of the Tutankhamun, that is Semenkhare. He is Semenkhare, who is generally not that much great ruler, or hardly to find any information about him, or he does not have any history. So this is Tutankhaten, or the person who has changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun, or this is only the ruler about which the complete story is based on, or we are talking about. So it is Tutankhamun, and the word means the servant of Amun, Amen, and he generally died in very young age, or after it the dynasty of his grandfather or father's dynasty was over, as he was the last king of the dynasty. So after that the scans and many other processes had been done. After the scanning of the body, the scientist has prepared the sketch of his brain, that is about 0.63 milliliter 62 milliliter slices, to register intervise with Tut's entire body and try to draw his sketch completely, as well as they also had made the sketch as in the grey color, or appeared as in the grey color, which you may had earlier seen in the pic of the King Tutankhamun. So let's move further. Or it was around 600, as I earlier told that 600 mummies were discovered till 2003, and others are going to counted, and the whole people have come to see the dead body or the mummy of the wealthiest king of that is known as Tutankhamun. But after it, as I told you earlier, that it is placed in the original place where from it has been taken, or the priest has suggested, or in the olden times the priest has kept his body or on the place from where it has been removed, and completely with all the things which they generally found in the other two coffins, that is the golds and board games and other clothes of the king, in the place from where it has been removed or seen or opened. By the time we left trailer descending metal stairs to the sandy ground, the wind stopped, as whenever or at the time when the mummy was kept back, generally the wind was blowing very fast, but it was stopped, and the weather becomes very cold as the winter was laying. So this is the peak of the King Tut that the scientists had made a sketch after the CT scan or the computer tomography. So it has generally been replaced in the place, and it has been said that the Egyptian news that the soul of Osiris, means the god of the afterlife, watching over the boy king. So what is this Osiris? Osiris is completely made up of the star-like projection which you generally may see in the screen. After it, this is the peak of the Zahi Hussein. I mean to say that he is the president of the Egypt, Mr. Zahi Hussein. Or after it has never been opened after the 1922. So this was the pyramid in which the tomb of King Tut was placed, and here I says the word Osiris means the god of afterlife was looking over the boy king. So what is this Osiris? Osiris, you will generally see that this is the peak of Valley of Kings where the body of King Tutankhamun was found. This is the peak of the Osiris. Means it looks like the shape of the stars, or made up of different stars, which generally falls on the pyramid of the King Tut, and it means that this is the tomb of King Tut, and it generally conveys that the King Tut was looked after in his life after by the god.